Hello. So we are live. Hey, Eternal Lady, Quentin. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So it is Monday. Good morning, Paul Treffel. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Okay. Hey, Miller. How's it going? So how should we do? Should I continue with sci-fi or should we do random topics? Hmm. Let's go. I'll do a character today. Sci-fi. Yeah. Hey, Yoms. Good morning. You'll hear my kids in the background, by the way. They're home. Um, so let's do a character. Sci-fi character. Let's try. Actually, let's do it a little bit different today. Let's see here. Let's use a photo as a starting point to have some fun designing. But hopefully I'll find a good photo before I need to start. Okay, let's use this one. Someone's 3D model. That's funny. That's weird. Anyways, let's use someone else's 3D work. Doesn't really matter anyways. Let's use this guy. Hey Zealand, how's it going? Right, so let's start the timer and let's see what I'll create. The timer's running. So, sci-fi character. What's the purpose of this character? You know, like, oh yeah, that's right. I didn't do my homework. I was supposed to do a checklist. Okay, that I have to do for tomorrow. So let's make him like a Han Solo type character. Let's have him like a Han Solo type character. What can I design in 30 minutes that will be like a Han Solo type character? Sci-fi, right? So should I do line art or a mix of just, probably should just commit straight off the bat. So let's commit. So let's try to come up, like I wish I would have had my checklist there. I said that as I was starting the stream, I was thinking, what was the homework from Friday? I don't remember anymore. And yeah, of course, as soon as I started, I remembered. Hey, good morning, Mila. So the checklist. Oh no, I'm painting on the wrong layer. The checklist is, of course, all the things I talked about all week, last week, about what's the purpose, what's the character, what's the narrative, what shapes. So I'm trying to kind of think about those things now that I'm drawing. Like, okay, now I know he's supposed to be a bounty hunter, bounty hero. Style, I'm not sure. I kind of want to lean into that he's an old Marine type. Like that he was a soldier at some point, and now he's a little bit like what's his name in Blade Runner? Decker. A little bit like that. Hey, Gux6, good morning. Chillstrand, hey, hey, hey. Louis, they're awesome. How's it going, man? So I am thinking, how can we make him feel like he was a soldier, but not anymore? So one way I was thinking is, soldier don't wear uniform, right? But when they could, in a way, lean into being a soldier because they like a nice pressed shirt or pressed pants or an ironed shirt. Who knows, right? Or I should know, rather. uh, so one way I was thinking on top of my head to try to solve that with showing that he was maybe using a shirt, so that now he's kind of wearing a uniform while not being. I mean, obviously, another route of going to show that he was a soldier is to put on more of like a battle fatigue, like a Henley or a tactical T-shirt. But I think that would be a bit obvious, maybe. And I thought, in this instance, in order to kind of give him more personality, and an additional layer. I mean, this is obviously all just made up on the top of my head, and I don't even know who this is. But I'm trying to work towards a goal like this checklist I have yet to write, which I should have, where narrative has to come to a part. Like thinking about something, who it is, and not just do. Because when we were just doing last Monday, I found it just being very generic and without purpose. The drawing didn't have a purpose, and I just did shapes. So I'm trying now to come up with reasoning as I'm developing the character. Obviously, with a real life scenario, you would have a brief. Someone who's been thinking about this all these things already. But still, when you're doing your concepts, you should still contribute yourself to the creation. That's why they hire you as a designer. So my thinking is as follows: that he was a type of something. Zealin, yeah, they could be. Hey, Rakes, how's it going? He got PTSD. Yeah, we could do that. We could try to show that. Hey, Zutin, how's it going? Nice of you to join in. Right, so maybe he had like an injury, right? So maybe he has a mechanical arm, and he doesn't have a lot of money because he's a veteran. So the mechanical arm might be a little bit low budget. And low budget we could show by not having maybe a fully. Hey, Rakes. Rakes, it's a continuation. Last week I was focusing on sci-fi, just kind of running on the theme of sci-fi and ranting about approaches and thinking and more or less like a attempt at breaking it down, why certain things affect others and all these things. So today is the continuation. It's second week of doing it, because one of the reasonings is I don't have time to contribute to a competition, ArtStation competition. I won't have just spare time to finish something, but I wanted to try to kind of stay on a theme of sci-fi. Like I said, I would probably have gone sci-fi with the latest competition. So I just thought I'd brainstorm. And today is, I should have had a checklist of what the things I ranted about last week, of, like purpose of the design, purpose of the concept, all these things. So now I'm trying to implement them all, and the actual character is just made up on the spot. I have no plan on who he is, or I don't know who it is. I'm just making it up as I'm going along the drawing to try to implement all these things, right? Rakes, yeah, all the previous week is on YouTube. Every day I copy it up on YouTube. So if you click underneath the stream, there's the archive, YouTube archive. You could just click there and go and have a listen to my rants. I would say they were pretty good rants last week. They had lots of purpose, rather than just me sitting. Well, obviously I'm just me sitting and being an idiot, regardless. But it was, I think it was thematically coherent all last week. So, in a way, like, it looks, I think what was cool with this shape is that it's not really like human, but I think I messed up the lower arm. It became a little bit too fancy. It doesn't look low budget. Um, so what I gotta do, try to do, is to go back in on the lower arm and just dumb down some of these shapes. They became a little bit too like professional looking. It has to be simplified a lot more clunky. And I could, in a sense of like enhancing maybe who he is, stating, like he is a bounty hunter, I could give him a gun, and the gun is all fancy, with other advanced shapes and materials, versus his arm, which is just functional rather than custom. Hey, big bros. Louis the Awesome, suggestions on how to start as a concept designer or concept artist. Practice design. Take my class that's not available anymore. No, it's a tricky one, actually. You have to study the like design principles. My character lecture, when we reach 2,000 followers, which is in 200 follows, I'll do that lecture for free, live. So you guys will get a 2-hour lecture when we reach 2,000. So if you want to help that get faster, guys could share my channel, or whatever. Or we'll slowly get to 2,000 at some point, and then you guys will get my character lecture, where I go through a lot of information about what you should think about doing character design, and design parameters, and theories and things like that. Rix, no, the background image is from Google. It's not my picture whatsoever. Hey, narrator, welcome back. Zeolite, yeah, exactly. That was the reasoning behind the choice of yellow, because the choice of yellow, I wanted to play with the idea that it's industry, right? Uh, a lot of things in the industry is yellow, like a digger or truck or anything that is utilitarian usually has this industry yellow, so it stands out. Um, so the thinking why choosing that was so that when we look at it, we know it's a utilitarian aspect. So it's like it could be repurposed from simple industry hydraulics or something. So it's not anything fancy. Uh, the 3D character was just a Google. I googled male model standing, and it was a picture for a 3D can store. No idea. Zeolin. Yeah. So to continue on your question, Louis, awesome. Um, it's a tricky subject, right? Because it's about learning how to use design principles. Um, but you should also first be good at drawing, obviously. Um, and it'll help you significantly if you're actually able to draw what you want. So eliminate that first step so that you don't have the technical aspect as an hindrance, at least to a certain acceptable degree, right? uh, because that's the first step. Like if you have to think about how do I need to draw instead of what do I need to draw, that becomes an easier thing to do. But I mean, if you're doing both at the same time because you want to learn it, that's fine. But just expect to run into technical issues at the same time as theoretical. Anyway, cheers. So let's give him rolled up sleeve, because usually, when you roll the sleeve up, you mean business, right? You need to have your hands available. Um, could indicate finger dexterity, like wizards, illusionists, when they do card tricks and so on. They always like roll up their sleeves to show, that they don't have nothing to hide and so on. So it's a little nice subtle uh, indicator of what he does, right? Maybe he can't be too he can't have too many parts missing of himself, because that's gonna be weird. So maybe it's in a far future. Maybe clothes are different. The fashion is completely different. We can come up with a completely different fashion. Flowy bits could mean ceremonial garbs, could mean motion, to show motion rather than needing motion. Um, Multiple purpose. All right, we could maybe give him type suspenders type of thing, and maybe give him weird kind of cargo type pants. that he, I don't know. Louis Dawson. All right, that's great. That's a definitely step in the right direction. So I would recommend. It needs to be plain in a way. So I would then. There is a lot of design theory out there. In my lecture and in what I did in my class was um, try to boil down a lot of industry standard approaches, and try to think about the theory behind it, right? Why are people doing it, and in a way where you can teach it so it's understandable. Um, so that's big part of my character design class is that aspect of where to start, how to proceed, what to think. Here's some full rules to keep in mind, and so on and so on. So, okay. In it, like straight off the top of my head here, I am not enjoying the shirt and pants combo. It became a really weird shape, and it did not go well together. So I'm going to revise it and try to think about the next step. So he's poor, or he doesn't have money to help him with his prosthetics, right? He has a shirt, so he tries to dress up. He's a bounty hunter. That means he needs to be incognito at times. What kind of future is this? Do they have hats? Does he need tracking gear? Is he an active soldier? Not sure really here. What's the narrative of him? Maybe he has a old, because he lost an arm, he could also have like a, what's it called, concussion damage from a blast. He could have like hurt his face. So should I? Maybe he's a little bit trendy. Maybe he's like a. Let's switch up his fashion a little bit. Let's try to make him a little bit cooler type character. Let's come up with some futuristic shirt. And that means we could also play with his pants a bit. Layers could make his pants look a lot more designery. Some nice flowing shapes. We don't. The reasoning I went away from Decker, aka Blade Runner, because he's very boring to look at, right? He's a man of action, and in this instance, I'm designing something. I mean, of course, the design of Decker, he is low key, and that's his design, because he doesn't care anymore. But I thought let's make something more interesting. So we got some more interesting shapes. We got some interesting. Let's maybe add some. Let's continue this like line down designs. I kind of like them, so let's go with that. Let's see where that leads us. Rakes, yeah, that's true. So if he has tracking gear, it could be, I mean, we could use old technology, like what we could make it look like he has old technology, you know, like from when he was in service. Like it's kind of maybe old military green, just to indicate, you know, play with the idea of Vietnam War. Obviously, it won't be in the future. I mean, modern tech in the future is always like a gray, right? So if there's something that's green, that kind of indicates its previous generation, right? Because that's how it is for us. That's how we relate to green military things usually, right? So no, all the modern ones are black and carbon at the moment. That's the like the trendy thing to do, right? So if there would be a green clunky looking thing, that probably would be like, oh, that's old tracker technology. But then he becomes very tactical, right? So the question is, would we need him to be that tactical? Or would he actually have a civilian version of it, which maybe would be like a hand tracker, like almost we could make it so that it's an awkward thing to use and it's not fast at all, uh, so that it's a handheld, kind of like a handheld device with a lens in it. So he's not tactical at all about it, uh, because he's not wearing it. Um, he's not wearing it. He's not wearing it on his head. He has to pick it up all the time to do it. That could be a good like solution to the technology, right? So that there is he has purpose to it, but it's also not super like up to date modern tech. Like the equivalent, most likely in this world, would be they would all have integrated technology, and he just has old, old generation tech, so that he has to manually like search. That could be a good. Like if this would be a game or something, that would be a great forced behavior, you know, like that. There's a tension by using it. It's also a good narrative tool, you know, like, oh, I'm looking at you with a magnifier glass of sorts and scanning you, you know, stand still, that kind of thing. So if everything is automated in the eye, then it's like, oh, who cares? Yeah, if he has that eye on, um, he definitely loses the urban feel. It's a little bit now when he has it on the chest, it is the same feel. So I'm gonna, well, I'll put it down here instead and underneath the shirt. Actually, maybe on this side. So now he just feels a little bit more like he has it on the hip, right? Cool. Cheers for that, Bear Bros. Bear Bros. Bad Bros. Um, so we could further indicate probably, let's see where we are. Oh shit, time's running out. Talking more than drawing. So give him a slight nudge towards tactical pads. Let's give him the option to be able to zip off the lower part of his pants and make them into shorts. Much like a lot of military pants, they have that option where they could multi-purpose, right? So in that sense, we now place him a little bit away from a normal civilian, but still slave to trends, fashion, so on, but he has a little bit more of a tactical advantage in his pants. That is hilarious. I have a I have a tactical advantage in my pants. I gotta remember that one. So stupid. Oh, you liked it on the chest, Zalin? Yeah, I liked it, the tracker on the chest as well, but it became very tactical in that sense, like at the ready. Now here on the side, that he just is more casual, right? It's not super handy or super ready. And in order to kind of further indicate that he is a tracker, we could put like a gun holster underneath, right? So we still have something there on the chest. We know obviously now that he's using his normal hand to draw the gun, which kind of further enhances the idea that his robotic arm is the cheap version, right? It's made out of spare parts and so on. It's not high tech, and it is crude function rather than, I mean, obviously, if you would have a robotic arm, if it's worth anything, you would draw the gun with that arm, right? Because you would have high precision with the robotic part. But in this instance, I'm opting to go towards the other direction of having it not being tactical, to use the arm, because I want to enhance the idea that the robot arm is slightly shitty. So we could. I kind of like this guy. Let's put in some accent. I mean, we got a lot of greens and yellows. What about an orange, very strong orange, as a very subtle accent in the shirt, perhaps? Just like a little. No, it's too close to the wires of his arm. Let's make it just a little bit blue. Yeah, that's better. Bear Bros. Yeah, yeah. I think we could do that, like an indicator on the arm or something to show battery level on his bicep. All right. That's it. That's today's weird exploration. Not sure really if it was interesting, but I kind of liked exploring it. I hope you guys enjoyed the thought process, maybe more than the interesting. Maybe it's not a fantastic painting by any means, but what I did enjoy was talking through the process of decision making, right? And what use you have to have and thinking. So I will try my best for tomorrow um, to have the checklist that I ranted about all week yesterday, last week, to kind of have it written down so that it does it. Like we can go through the checklist and remind ourselves as we're starting to draw what is the things I need to remember. And I surpassed some of them with using a photo in the background, as like some of those things on the list that we talked about last week was pose and character in the pose and weight and so on. Anyway, so I'll try to write it down for tomorrow, have it on screen, so that we can all kind of discuss the points if they're valid or not. So let's see. Anyways, thanks everyone for joining in. And I'm gonna go. What was it? Tactical advantage in my pants? What was it? I don't remember. But it was stupid. Anyways, have a good one. See you tomorrow morning. Outro time. Tactic.